Let's
No,
start.
actually, where I am, while I'm not there, is I'm right now soaking in a hot tub in my $1,536.96 a night suite in Paris.
Oh my!
I'm just kidding. That
I,
was Bob Menendez
I
who
was going
did
to say,
that.
are you traveling with the senator?
Uh,
I mean, we should touch on this. I mean, look, I have no idea whether or not the guy is guilty or not, but the number of counts and the fact that that federal investigators are going for a bribery charge, which is a very high bar, and they only will indict you on that if they feel they can do it because they have lesser charges which could basically accomplish the same thing or similar
right.
things. This is Bob Menendez. It seems to me not long for the Senate.
Yeah, I would say that too. First of all, there have been these kinds of rumors and talk for years. You know, you wonder sometimes if people are just sort of ginning up scandal for the sake of scandal. I always tend to assume with these things, it reminds me, obviously, some of the stuff went on when Bill Clinton was in the White House, that there may not be something illegal, but generally, if there's this much talk going on, there tends to be something unseemly.
Right.
It turns out that here it may be both. And you have to add in another factor, which is he's from New Jersey. Which, if you're from New Jersey and you run for office, I think right away we have to take odds, 3 to 5, let's say, that you're going to be a crook. No, I'm kidding. I love you, New Jersey, but it does seem New Jersey and Illinois have a competition going, and may have even both left Louisiana behind at this point, which is rather impressive. In terms of in terms of what he did, I mean, speaking of, I guess we were talking about Illinois. You think of what Aaron Schock just resigned for, and some of this stuff sounds a little bit like that. It sounds like enjoying yourself a little bit too much and not reporting flights. There may be more here on Menendez, I don't know, but it sounds like, I'm talking not necessarily in the criminal sense, but in the general sense, it's almost like it's a broader cultural indictment of the Citizens United era, where it seems that you don't have to actually go out, as Republicans like to say anyhow, and certain Democrats, and spend all that time in the private sector and like a good American would. But these guys can actually get pretty rich and do pretty well, if not with their own money, with other people's money, while they're in office, in numerous ways. And yeah, some of the stuff's illegal, but just the fact that some of it's borderline, and some of it is allowed, some's not. There's some that's questionable. I think that what we're seeing right now has to speak to some of what's going on out there, and I'm sure there's a lot more in general. In terms of the bribery, I think you're right. There are 14 counts. 8 of them are bribery.
Yep.
If I remember right. So, I'm not a lawyer.
15 years in prison for each count, theoretically.
Wow. So that's bad. I'm not a lawyer. However, I did see The Wolf of Wall Street. And if Leonardo DiCaprio was speaking the truth in that movie, great movie, by the way, I remember him saying that for you to be charged, there has to be a specific quid pro quo.
Yep.
It can't be a more generalized thing. So you're right. That is a high bar to cross. And if 8, you're right. If they don't generally do this stuff unless they think they're going to win, and if 8 of those are bribery, they must really think they have something. So no, I don't think he's going to be in the Senate long.
Just to get a sense of how much trouble I think he's in terms of like the chances of this prosecution being successful enough to put him in jail for an extended period of time. The last time the Department of Justice brought these charges was, I believe, nearly 30 years ago during Abscam, where they had them on videotape, right? I mean, so this shows a tremendous amount of confidence that they have the goods on him. And
yeah, I was going to even ask, because what I was thinking when I heard this, the place I was talking about, this wonderful place, which I must find in Paris, and of course find a way to spend somebody else's money, because frankly I don't have enough for this place. But in addition to the $1,500 a night deal, the king bed, which we all expect, and work area with the internet, of course, but the limestone bath with soaking tub and enclosed rain shower. That's pretty awesome. So right away I was thinking with the hot tub thing. You ever see Charlie Wilson's War?
I didn't see that, but I remember.
It pretty much begins with him in a hot tub with a bunch of people, and there's some aggressive prosecutor from New York. People weren't sure what his name was. It was like Rudy Giuliani or something, who was trying to go after Charlie Wilson and indict him and get him on that. So Yeah, I'm just saying it has that sleazy corruption feel to it. Again, the man is innocent until he's proven guilty, but it really doesn't look good. And my guess is just because of the cloud that will surround him, he's going to have to leave the Senate. I mean, they're not supposed to leak things from this, but we all know how this has gone in recent years. There'll be plenty leaked from any investigation, and it'll just keep hitting him and nailing him to the wall when the Democrats are trying to win a presidential election. Certainly Hillary Clinton, should she be the nominee, or anyone else, a Democratic nominee is not going to want him around. You've already got Amy Klobuchar returning money that she raised along with Bob Menendez. Amy Klobuchar is the senator from Minnesota. So that's the way this is going to go. No one's going to want him to touch anything or be near them, make any appearances with them, and that gets pretty tough after a while. So my guess is he will be gone. And that brings up, just in the political side of it, an interesting dynamic, which I ask you here, Sam, which is, do you think a man by the name of Chris Christie, who most recently his numbers were 25% approval and 47% disapproval among Republican primary voters, such that public policy polling, who had done these polls, said they were going to think of removing him from their polling, that it wasn't worth bothering with anymore at this point. You think he tries to salvage himself in New Jersey and see, being that he's the power-hungry guy that he is, and see if he can't run for the U.S. Senate if he doesn't end up in prison himself?
No, because his polling in New Jersey is almost as bad.
Is it as bad in New Jersey?
Oh, no, his polling in New Jersey has dropped like a lead balloon. I mean, this guy, and again, I think he's going to, he's got just maybe he ends up, maybe it ends up being like a great, I don't know, sitcom, like Menendez and Christie. And
get Torricelli back out, out there.
They'll be sharing. Well, let me say there's two things I want to make, 2 points I want to make on this, and then I want to move on. One is that as far as that, whatever it is, the limestone bath and shower thing, I can't even sort of actually picture that. Although I remember going to David Cross's house in L.A. He was rented a place, and he had like a Roman bath where you would actually sort of walk in. I can't even remember what it was like, but it was pretty nice. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We hit our Indiegogo campaign numbers. We're going to make our stretch goal to send you to that hotel in Paris. I'm kidding.
My God! If you do that, I'll report from that bathtub with the rain shower on for you guys if you send me there.
All right. Well, we'll put it into the mix. Let's put it that way.
Okay,
all right. The other thing, though, you mentioned Citizens United, and I want to just touch on this before we go, because part of the indictments have to deal with this sort of direct quid pro quo. Can you get the doctor? It was this eye doctor who was his friend, I guess, in Florida. The eye doctor is going to pay for my hotel room. Hey, we need to have a Medicare. I mean, literally, they want to change like sort of national Medicare policy so that this guy could make, I don't know how many more million, a couple, right. I don't know. And there was a lot of that quid pro quo. Menendez would get his, I guess, college-age girlfriends in. The guy was a 62-year-old married guy. Get his college-age girlfriends in from foreign countries in exchange for whatever it is. That
was sort of
buy me a car.
The sleazy part of this
right.
I was talking about. Yeah.
But there also is that through this doctor's company, he directed $700,000 in corporate contributions to Majority PAC, which was a super PAC intended to help Democrats retain control of the Senate in 2014. And the doctor instructed the group to use, this is 2012, to use those contributions to aid Menendez's 2012 re-election campaign. So this is basically strikes right at the heart of, and boy, I hope Anthony Kennedy can pick up a newspaper and read it. Because this is the guy who said...
He was so right in what he said.
He said this doesn't even... There's no way this is even going to lead to the appearance of corruption. This seems to me to be direct direct corruption. Never
I mean,
mind
because
appearance.
they'll be completely independent of you. You won't be like appointing former staffers like Mitt Romney. I'm sure there are others. And Democrats, many
Right.
of them. But I remember Mitt Romney's like, what was it, his finance guy or his previous campaign manager who was like, oh well, he's now running the super PAC, but we don't talk to each other.
Right, of course.
You know, kind of. I mean, like that. Anthony Kennedy is either the stupidest person alive, maybe. No, that's going a little too far with some of the others we've talked about, but. Did he? I mean, he couldn't foresee this. I mean,
Right.
it doesn't. You don't need to be a genie to be able to figure this out. This is. It's such silliness, I guess, is all I can say. When you think about what he said and the naivete in what he said, that you have to believe he wasn't being honest, because it's that to think that all these people that travel in the same social circles and the rest, but suddenly won't talk to each other and won't do things like this. I mean, again, Citizens United era here. We're in it.